But the story is getting somewhere. These random women and what they did to my ex and me being in his life caused envy in this best friend baby mama girl that rejected him. I mean, the friend was dead, so really it's fair game, guys, you know, type thing. I didn't have problems with that, but you rejected him. However, because I was, okay, just to describe the differences between me and this girl, right? Both of us were dark girls. She was, however, short. I'm tall and skinny, right? Was at the time even skinnier than now. That girl was short and one of those petite, tiny little skinny girls. And both dark in complexion. I think I'm prettier, but you know, I don't know. Like, I thought I was prettier, but like, whatever. Let's just move past that. There wasn't physically to this girl anything that made me scared. I'm being honest, okay? Let's just, like, come on, I come from the world, we think very shallow type thing. There was nothing physically about her that was intimidating, but she had a power. She had a power, just like Jezebel has a power, guys. Jezebel has power over Ahab. Whether or not she's a beautiful woman is irrelevant. There are women with average looks that have got so much weight on men. They've got so much influence over men that you don't even, you look at them and you're like, I don't get it. Women, you know how there's that one girl when you were growing up that always got the baddest dudes, but when you look at her, she was like a plain Jane on fire. This chick was a plain Jane just like that. And on top of that, I personally, everywhere I went out here in these streets, people were always like, oh my goodness, your girlfriend, she looks like a model. She's so pretty. Because I'm tall and slender, right? So I always used to get asked if I was a model. So I had that up on her, type of thing. Plus, I was also somewhat like of a diva. I was a fashionista. I was well dressed. I had a high flying career. I was the it girl of then. I had those stats, and yet, so I essentially should not have been intimidated by anybody. And this girl scared me because of the clout that she had in my man's, like, mind type thing. My boyfriend as well. Because this girl undermined him for having no money, when he landed me, she would often look at the situation on some, what is she doing with him? What is she doing with a man like that? So if a woman has underestimated a man in the past, and then a really great girl comes in this man's life and takes him seriously, like the it girl, the girl with the clout, the street cred, the diva stats, that nonetheless takes a guy that doesn't have money, is not going anywhere, and she loves him, and it's clear, and the relationship thrives, and this guy becomes a better man. He gains some weight, he gets some pink in his cheeks, he starts to, you know, look healthy, man. He starts to get, yeah, my ex-boyfriend gained weight when the two of us dated. He was a skinny little scrawny guy, and I made him juicy. So I was really good for him, and I was being ranted about as well. Among his friendship circles, his mom was besotted with me. Family loved me. I was just the best thing that ever happened to my ex, and he was a man that had historically had all these women downsize and mistreat him because of what he didn't have, and then here rocks up this chick that doesn't have to be with a man like this, and I am. Forgive me and that dog. It's always the bane of my existence, so we will try and ignore it as white noise. Righto. So that is what under heaven was going on in that situation. And so this chickie was like, she started to growl in the corner, like, when she was looking at this, she was like, what does she want in him? And so basically me being by this man's side gave my ex clout. It made him the kind of man that other women now are curious to be with. That is why the devil is always after marriages, guys. As soon as a guy gets married, it makes other women just salivate after that man because he's taken. It's reverse psychology. It's the worst thing. It inspires sin. Anyway, whatever. So these ladies that rejected my ex, especially this one, now was hovering around him, trying to lick him with her like snake tongue, and she used to annoy the living daylights out of me. She would call him in the wee hours of the morning. Well, I was a fornicator at the time, so I got to be in bed with a man in the wee hours of the morning, and he would take the call. My ex was very open and honest with me, so he would like text, and he would leave his phone just lying there with no pin code in it, and go to the store and come back, and trust that I either didn't go through it, or even if I went through it, there's nothing there to find. So when my ex then gets up out of bed in the wee hours of the morning to go and talk with somebody on the phone, you hear those dogs? That's what that sounded like. There is a doggy dog, and it's loud at night and I can't sleep because of it. Things like this used to make me think that this is not just a friend. This is not a girlfriend, although she's just a girl that is your friend. I had a few of my ex's girlfriends. All up in my grill and I was chill with them and they liked me and we liked each other. This one was a differential, and on top of that, this chick, because she claimed to be my ex's friend, girl, you as my man's friend. So when we see each other in public and when we bump into one another at the jazz festival there, it should be, hi Delilah. I just say her name was Delilah, right? Hi Delilah, how are you? Good, man. I was like that with all of my other ex's girlfriends. Hey girl, how you doing? Okay, I see you. But this one, no, I wasn't the one giving the attitude. She always used to be like, hey, let's say my ex's name was Jajumbo. Hey Jajumbo, how are you? Ah! The kind of hug where you lift your one toe, your one like leg up like that, and she wouldn't even greet me. She would literally glide by. She didn't even say a mean hello, like, you know, one of those hello, and then you go and you like talk to other people. She would like walk right by me and then hug my man. So she had a lot of attitude against me, and on top with unprovoked. We had no history. Remember, she was at loggerheads, enmity, rivalry with my cousin and my cousin's crew when we were growing up. But I was at enmity with her in spirit, in the sense that I was supporting my cousin. So any enemy of my girl is my enemy. So I didn't really have a history with her enough for her to do that with me. And how I even found out that she was rivals with my cousin was because of this thing. I went to my cousin and I was like, girl, there is this girl and I can't deal, girl. Tell me what to do about that girl. And she's like, give me the name, describe her. I know her. She's like that, Vela. No, don't be scared. No, yeah. She's all over. That's when I got all those stories about her dalliances, who she done slept with when she was just a teenage, blah, blah. I was like, trying to comfort myself with the fact that she is a, bit of a Jezebel. Trying to comfort myself with the fact that she's a loose girl. You know, when you pride yourself in a woman's harlotry, you shouldn't love it when people sin. But for me, that was a comfort zone, because for me, it was like, at least she's a bad girl. Hey. But it wasn't enough. I found out all the stories, her dirty laundry from the past, through my cousin. So basically what side of the story that my ex had to give was not the truth about this girl. And so the fact that he even spoke highly of her, while everybody else that could give me a story about this girl basically put out there that she's a bit of a Jezebel, for me it was like, yo, when a man loves a woman, she could be a Jezebel. And he'll be like, no, but I can change her. Here it is that I was panel beating a man and he was trying to panel beat her. Money into sunken costs, you know? It's like paying 10,000 rands to refurbish a car and then you sell it for 5,000. Yeah, I was investing in a man that was investing in another woman. And this chick not only gave me attitude but called my man at strange hours. She also used to ask him for money and he would abide when he never used to bachelor me. So it caused such a nasty sour taste in my mouth that I nearly left him. I basically put an ultimatum, not even an ultimatum, but it was like a test. It wasn't a test, I was actually serious. I was finally, like, I was so ride or die to this guy and I loved him so much. He was so comfortable that I was not going anywhere, that when it was clear that I was actually leaving, I found out that I was worth his while and that he loved me more than this girl, because he told her, you can't call me anymore at funny hours. You're still my girl, you're my friend, and I love you, and I'm still the godfather of your daughter, and I will always, like, be supportive in that regard, always be there to help, always be there for the girl. But I have a woman and I love her and I can't lose her, so you're gonna have to stop calling me. You're gonna have to, yeah. So basically my ex cut ties with this girl. Even her own sister was like, girl, you rejected him, like, leave him alone. So she was causing my ex to stumble in our relationship, looking back, because she knew that there was something worth the while in him, enough for a woman like me to be with him, and whatever it was caused her to just linger around. And I was like, okay, so I'm investing in a project here that is going to be given to some other person. So I literally was 2 seconds out the door and my ex was like, whoa. It was that was a lifesaver. This happened 2 years into our relationship. So I struggled with this fly around the room for 2 years, and I suspect that in that 2 years there were multiple slip-ups between the two of them, where they were my ex and I used to go everywhere together, party everywhere together. There was one time when he came to my place. I was staying with my mom in this very same complex, but another unit down the road. And I had gotten all dolled up, ready to go with my ex. He came to pick me up. He didn't have a car, but he was with his cousin. I was ready to go party with him, and he just came to drop off flowers and chocolates to see me check. Yo, dude, that doesn't happen with me. Like, my ex and I, we were so close. We used to spend so much time together that he never used to come and just see me at my mom's house and then go home. We were leaving. We were always leaving together, and he came to pick me up. Hey, baby, ooh. I'm like getting out of the house, basically like dancing. I was like, baby, let's go. Hey. You can tell from what era I come from. I'm literally going to the car on and I'm you know, when you get out of the house like that, black people can understand. And this dude was like he was like, babe, you can't come with. I'm laughing now, but back then it was so painful. I'm like, let's go. And he's like, no, you can't come. And I can't even remember what excuse he made for why I couldn't come. I was all dolled up. I felt so stupid. But I stayed home because I trusted him. I was like, oh, okay. I guess not then. That's me walking back into the house. Until I found out a couple of weeks down the line from that date where his perfectly sound excuse for why I couldn't come with him now made sense. You know how my ex had girlfriends? Among his girlfriends, by the way, were friends of this girl, and friends of this girl never used to give me problems. That's the thing. This chick was just, it's like everybody understood my relationship, and everybody also knew that this girl was wrong to try and break me and my ex up, because she would never have been serious. If she got me and my ex to break up, she would still not go and be with him. She would not agree to be with him because he was still struggling in life. So she would have just broken us up and selfishly just watched him stay single, having lost me, and she would have then gone on to be with her sugar daddies. So everybody was on my side, including her friends. Like, nobody gave me attitude except for this girl. Nobody. Everybody knew that I was good for my ex, right? And this used to grate her. The fact that no one stood with her on this, not even her own sister, like I told you. You know, when a man, you have everything you need and you just, man, you throw it, like literally drop your ball, oh boy. Anyway, fine. So this chickie, because her friends, some of her friends, I knew some of the friends. One time when we were at this one restaurant, my ex had a best friend that had a restaurant in downtown Joburg, very popular. That was like a dancing joint. I was like, just went there to do all that, right? So we went to my man's boys like joint, you know, and this time I got to dance because, you know, dude, why are you taking away the dance? I want to dance with somebody. And he stopped me that day. Well, this time around he didn't stop me. And then one of like 2 or 3 of the girls from that crew minus this chick came. She was hardly ever in the country. That also helped because she was a flight attendant, so she was always away from South Africa, and that helped. If she was always in this like joint, my life would have been a lot more tough. Every time she would come home and be home for a season, my ex would be among the people she's harassing with petitions for money and whatnot, right? It helped, but you should not have to tiptoe around a woman like that. You should not have to tiptoe in your relationship like that. You should just feel safe and comfortable, you know what I mean? Anyway, whatever. So this chick's friends were at this like like spot, this joint, and I was like, hey ladies, hi, how are you and stuff. Remember, I was cordial with everybody, and then because they didn't think anything was up, went outside where the music wasn't so loud. They were talking now casually about some party that they went to. Yo Joe, that's them having a conversation I never understood. The language that they were speaking. And then I catch wind of understanding, and I promise you, if it was not for my ex's uncomfortable shuffling, I wouldn't have known there was anything wrong. I just trusted that guy so hard. I trusted him real bad. So I did not think anything of it until I saw that my ex was basically like low key on some, trying to like get them to stop talking. And when I was listening to them go on, I was able to put the pieces of the puzzle together. You know, light bulb moment. It happened on this time at this date, and yo Joe, just the time when this party happened, the people that were there, and also mention of this girl being at that party, I then came to learn that the reason why my ex didn't want me to go with was because that girl was gonna be there. my flames. I might be smiling, laughing now, but guys, it was bad then, okay? So fine. I found out that my ex wanted to keep me away from there because of this girl. I don't know if it was because he wanted to have an affair with her or because this girl had voiced out the fact that she didn't like me and he didn't want me to be uncomfortable in that space. I don't know what he was doing, but things like these, like events like these, made me even more antsy. Events like these made me even more uncomfortable. What is that car doing? I'm sorry. I'm busy. Please just give me time to finish this message. Things like those. Okay, it's going somewhere else. Things like those made me so super uncomfortable that I then started to gain like insecurities. I wasn't an insecure woman generally. In my relationship, I was quite secure, especially considering my ex had never, other than with this chickie, given me a reason to be insecure. I trusted him. And but this chick, what, like, right? I was like, whoa, am I like competing? And what used to also really get to me was the fact that if this girl had better character, my ex would be with her. That used to eat at me alive. It's almost as if I felt like I was a placeholder. Do you understand? So it really ate at me and my confidence levels and what have you, and I raised it with my ex. Guys, leave me alone, please. I need peace. I raised it with my ex on side, like all the issues and the concerns I had, and he would always be like, Gabo, there's nothing to worry about, blah blah, wada. I would raise it, and but the calls at midnight, 3 a.m, blah blah, never stopped coming in, blah blah. Yeah, like basically my ex did not have the discipline that was required to keep me, and so I threatened to walk out, and he reacted appropriately this time. But it was after 2 years of going to and from with these kinds of stories, eventualities, events unfolding. I don't know if he matured and realized that I can't lose a woman I love that's ride or die for someone that is fluffy and flaccid. I literally to this day still don't know if I'm a player or no. I found out that his loss eventually, but we're gonna get to that juncture point in the story, right? By the time my ex-boyfriend and I broke up, this girl was long date out of the picture. When he told her, I'll still be there, I'll support, I'll help with the support of the kid and da because I'm the god dad, whatever you need, la. But she was so angry at him for telling, because what my ex told her was, look, it's not like you have to disappear or whatever, but you can't call me at these hours. My girlfriend is not comfortable, and on top of that, you can't call me and ask for money anymore. After all, I am somebody else's man, and I cannot be funding the lifestyle of another woman. Blah blah. A mature conversation did my ex have with this girl. He wasn't rebuffing her, he was just telling her boundaries, and her response was to cut him out altogether. So she was very emotionally manipulative. But my ex was like, I guess it's the price I'll have to pay. She did not allow him to see the goddaughter anymore, and my ex was like, she's not my kid, and if she doesn't want me to see the kid, I can't fight for custody or whatever. It kind of hurts, but so I finally gained some kind of relief. I do believe my ex did stumble with this girl, cheat on me basically with her more than once. I believe she was a side piece, but I had never had evidence, I never had proof, and I think that my ex basically made a decision to honor me in this equation because he knew that girl could not be trusted. So for those reasons, like I said, I felt like I was a placeholder, and if this girl was a better woman, I would not have been in the picture. Anyway, my ex then became a fool. He was a great guy in the beginning of the relationship. He turned pear-shaped on me because he started taking really bad advice from guys. I was a strong woman, financially, materially, but I was never arrogant or pompous about it over my ex. I wanted him to grow with me. He had these dreams to start a business. I was trying to help him get that along. Not financially, but just moral support. Like, I don't believe in giving a man money. I'm sorry, I don't. Like, men who get provided for by women, ultimately, they show their ugly heads. It's almost as if they stick in the situation because the woman is beneficial to him in some way, and then they leave. So I was like a source of moral support. I used to give him advice, counsel. I would do some of his documentation and what have you, just to help him along. I was the one, making those calls so he can get his driver's license, but never did I pay for him to get the driver's license. I had never financed my ex in any way. I allowed him to be a man where he could. He had financial restrictions in his life, but where he could, I allowed him to be that, right? So I can't really say that I was androgynous and manly in the relationship, not even in the slightest. I was indeed what it is that the Bible calls a helper suitable, just without the Bible, because I wasn't saved at the time. I was the wind beneath his wings, and I wanted him to grow. Yeah, that's what I was to this man. So manly, I wasn't that thing. I was just materially stronger because I had a stronger career. I was intelligent, but I was very girly through and through. Like I said, on dates, he paid. I made him pay. Like, I didn't even make him pay. He just instinctively understood it. Remember, he was not the kind of guy to be like, let's go 50-50. He was used to providing for women, but then when he came into the relationship with me, he got to relax because I wasn't hyper demanding and not inappropriate, but what's the word that I'm looking for? I'm looking for a word. Unreasonable. I wasn't unreasonable with him. So he got to feel strength where it is that strength was. As soon as he got his driver's license, I even let him drive all the time when we were driving. So I would be in the passenger seat, basically be the girl. Like, I did everything to make my man feel like a man, even though he was lethargic, he was lazy, he was not getting his act together fast enough, right? But his friends, just from looking on the outside, you know, when one of your boys has got a really great girl and nobody understands why she's with him. I used to get so much slack from people on my side of the equation on some, you know, you can do better. And I'm like, what's better? Exactly. What's better? I need to understand. Are you asking me to go and be like, I used to be so scared, like there were a monster underneath the bed as a child, a girl child, of hot boys that had lots of money, these cars, these careers, like, because they were so abusive to women emotionally. And I was like, I'm stable here. I got a man that respects things that I cry about, and he loves me, he is romantic, and on top of that, we're gonna grow together. And when we grow, just you see, he is going to appreciate what I've done for him, my sticking with him through times of darkness. He's gonna realize that he's got something really great, and so invest in our relationship. He's gonna be somebody that I will have stuck to, and so later on in life he's gonna stick to me. We were gonna get married, blah blah, all that jazz. And when men are dancing up and down in these streets, messing with every girl's heart, when you've got those kinds of immature friends, and you have got a ride or die girl, like when you've got a guy that is a womanizer, so there's not one woman that sticks around in their life, or the one that does stick around takes a lot of rubbish and she's not firm and strong in her resolve to be treated better, they envy their boy. So my ex had this precious girlfriend that all of his boys did not understand what in the world I want with him, so they sabotaged us. They sabotaged him. They advised him badly by basically trying to claim that I was a bit of a Jezebel to Ahab. In other words, I'm lording it over him with an iron fist. I am manly and I want to run the relationship. I'm wearing the pants. It couldn't be farthest from the truth. It couldn't be farthest from the truth. And by the way, among the misogynists who ill-advised my ex in this way was his own dad. His own father ill-advised him in this capacity, right? Because he had an old school mentality and did not want a woman earning more than a man. Like, what am I supposed to do? Be poor, be broke, and neglect my career? You haven't even made an honest woman out of me. I'm happy to be a housewife, but you need to make enough to take care of both of us, dude. I'm happy to be the kind of woman to stay at home and raise our kids forever. But really, if you want an old school method of a home or a household, I'm happy to abide by it, but I gotta be comfortable. I gotta be able to get everything I need in this world. I gotta be with all the support and under heaven I need to run a successful household. Right now, you don't have everything you need. So show me then, if at all you want that old school wife. I'm happy, like I've always been that girl, right? Anyway, but my ex's friends, so long story short, I was successful in my career, guys, because I'm smart. And because I was an educated woman, I studied very hard and I worked hard. So I got rewarded for it. But I was willing to drop it all for family. Men don't understand that. Some men don't get that when a woman is thriving and successful, it doesn't mean it's what they want. It just means that for now, they're living. What else are they gonna do? Just sit waiting for a guy to come and pick them up like they're a Cinderella, put them in their house? Guys, we go to school, we go to university, we study because our parents raise children that study. Just because we gain a career does not mean we have no interest in love and family. I had a friend actually when I was working at MTN. She also broke my heart, but you know, many people broke my heart. I came to Christ, so I'm persecuted by people who just did not embrace the Lord type thing. But like this girl, before she went all pear-shaped on me, had similar values to me. I guess that's why we got along the way that we did. We both knew that we're doing well in corporate, fine, whatever, but we were happy to drop it all for love and for family. She and I used to talk about this, and among our colleagues, they would crease their foreheads, like our female colleagues would crease their foreheads on some, yo guys, this is how we used to think. I remember she and I having this one conversation while others were creasing their foreheads on some, I don't want to grow up the corporate ladder. Like my friend and I were like, I agree. Like I don't want to grow up the corporate ladder. I have no interest. I just want to go be barefoot and pregnant in a kitchen with a really loving and supportive husband. And our other female colleagues were like, hey, you know, black girls when they get obnoxious, yeah, gave us all that, and we were just like, whatever, I don't care, because we believed that it's possible to find men that are responsible, that can love women in that very old school picket fence, come home to steamy windows because I'm cooking type household, and be responsible. And I'm laughing now because cynicism has entered into me, because I feel like I was naive back then because of how badly abused by men I've been ever since then. But my friend and I both basically just said that if at all they had any other, if a man came into their lives that was responsible responsible enough and said stay home and take care of the kids, we would have done it. We knew we didn't both want to grow up the corporate ladder, but we were smart enough to grow, educated enough to grow. But if anybody were to take us out of that, we were gonna be happy to abide. So men, I'm trying to get to a point, and I'm not even supposed to be talking to men right now, but just in case someone listening right now, I'm trying to help you understand that you have thrown out the baby with the bathwater. You have literally destroyed every black woman because of the trauma that you have experienced from the kind of black women that many of these ladies that I'm about to talk about now are. The sun is beginning to set and I'm uncomfortable with lighting sort of kind of evading me, so I will hopefully be able to seal this quickly and just get what I need out the way, right? My ex's friends at the time envied our relationship because they were bad men with bad women. They constantly got with bad women, and it was not always bad women. The good women that came in, they lost them. They were like they slipped through their fingers because they got so badly hurt by these guys that eventually they left and other guys got into their lives. So a guy that has never had a real experience of a relationship with such a ride or die woman that'll stick by your side no matter what, will then look at his boy's girl. I don't know how many of my guys, a woman like me, and this is not to brag or whatever, men in this 21st century where women are so feminized, like no man's business, like this feministic movement, they are so exhausted from it that when they meet a breath of fresh air type woman like me, for instance, and she's not theirs, they it's, you know, like Satan is condemned to hell, and so what he's doing right now is trying to take as many people to hell as possible with him. A bitter spirit basically dwells in the devil. So it's not that he can be happy if he brings you down with him, is that there is no opportunity for him at happiness at all. So he might as well in his bitterness take everyone down. Men who hurt women, who crush them, who break them, who grab ride or die girls that have been sticking by their side even from high school, upon losing that girl, they don't want the rest of their friends. They're like Satan. They don't want any of their boys to have this girl. So, and also men have very strong feelings for women that honor old school femininity, but they're rare in this 21st century. And so sometimes you will find, if you're a woman like that, your boys, your man's boys, having secret feelings for you because of how they see how ride or die you are to their friend. And a man's love for a woman sometimes is so toxic that he can kill anybody that comes in the way of that woman just so he doesn't have to watch her be happy with someone else. I have been given dreams by God, a couple of them of at least 3 of my ex-boyfriend's friends who had apparently very strong feelings for me, and they hid them. Of course, why in the world would you show it? I'm your boy's girl, right? But to them the feelings were so strong and they couldn't stand watching me and my ex walk around, and the reason why they liked me was because of how I was. They had access to so many beautiful women, so my beauty was not the thing that made them like me. It was never my job, my career, anything that made me a fabulous it girl. They didn't care about that. It was my character, and with my character making them envious, because that's hard to come by. You can get a beautiful girl any minute, but it's hard to come by one that actually also has a suite of character virtues. That's rough to encounter. I want to see if I can't go outside, guys, because the sun is setting and so it's getting dark in the house. So let me move my ring light and outside and we'll finish this conversation outside. Just stay there. I'm sorry. Hi guys, say hello to my vehicle where things are dangling. It is entirely debilitated, but is the only place where I could find adequate lighting while we get this message out. So please don't judge the vehicle because the girl is going through it. You all know that by now. Okay, cool. Right, so my ex, yes, his friends, that's where I lost ended. Some of his friends had a crush on me for those reasons, really. It was about the kind of woman I was, but like the devil, they wanted to take my ex down with them. So they sabotaged the relationship not only with witchcraft, which is very difficult to prove, but what can be proven and what testimony or what my ex would have to admit to is at least that in their physical words, they broke us up. They used to advise him that I was this overbearing woman that was basically trying to change him as a man, that he must put his foot down. If he doesn't want to do it, he doesn't have to do it. He doesn't have to honor anything I have to say. He doesn't have to do what I ask. And basically the thing that we were doing to work on our relationship, our future, he was not going to marry those fools, but he was going to marry me. They told him, boy, you're whipped, like you're being basically controlled by a woman and you gotta stand your ground. My ex already had problems with being emasculated by women before. He already had sorrow in his soul because of how underestimated as a man he was, even by other men. Remember, his exes used to just run out on him to be with other men that they imagined was stronger, that he imagined was stronger. He had all that sorrow in him, right? And even though I'd never done anything of that nature to him, he imagined that I also would sorry that I am also not also gonna do that. My ex knew that I would never do anything like that. But you know when you just like character assassinate somebody because you're blame thirsty for something that they haven't done and will highly likely not do, but you're apparently protecting yourself from being hurt again. From what, dude? I have displayed in all these years that I've been with you that I would never ever go out like that on you. But his friends try to make him basically the whole saying that all these women are the same. One day they're gonna flip on you, gonna change on you. His dad used to tell him that as soon as I get my degree, I'm gonna walk out on him. Why in the like? I didn't need to be with my ex materially. I was obviously not in it for what he can do for me, but for I had a vision. I could have been with anybody else, but I chose him. That should have just like helped him realize that this is genuine. Do you understand? And yet somehow his friends and not family members, one only, his dad and some bad cousins, male cousins, alongside his friends, advised him wickedly where I am concerned. Now I'm freaking out. That light is like evading me. You guys, should I leave my door open? I don't know. Yeah. They counseled him wickedly concerning me. They basically made him second guess what we were doing, and in so making him doubt what we were doing. He started to hurt me like really badly. As in, whenever I'd ask for something, he would drag his feet. Sometimes he wouldn't even do it. My ex and I used to do everything together. He stopped pitching. He stopped rocking up. He started standing me up. He started rocking up at my apartment. Remember I was the more financially strong one, so I had my own place, and he was still staying at home with his parents, but I was ride or die to him. He would sometimes come to my apartment at like 3-4 a.m. in the morning after partying with friends. One time, and this like eventually brought about our breakup. I was a fornicator at the time, so we used to do things that fornicators do, and I could smell on his manhood another woman. Like, don't ask me why I was down there, but I could smell another woman's, and I interrogated him about it and he denied it. You don't just smell like that down there if you have not been inside another woman. And I smelt this on one of the days when he rocked up at my apartment in the wee hours of the morning. So he not only cheated on me, but he also cheated on me on the day that he was going to see me later on, and he didn't even have the decency to take a shower. These things started to happen, and I couldn't understand why he was not talking to me the way that he was talking to me. Why he just went pear-shaped on me, especially when I would start asking him progress on what he's doing with his life. He was being advised by his friends that a woman should not even raise a voice. She should not ask any questions. You know, when you take away the duty of a woman to be a helper suitable from her, in the spirit of a woman must be silent, they go and they grab the scriptures and they break them apart and they malign them, and they basically reduce the fallen Eve to a woman that because she ate the fruit and caused Adam to eat the fruit should not be heard at all, should not be listened to at all. But the Lord does say, husbands, if you don't listen to your wives, even your prayers are going to be hindered. So the Lord never intended for women to be quiet and not talk to men. We're supposed to be helper suitables. How are we going to help you and be the wind beneath the wings of men if at all we we don't talk at all, right? If we don't advise you, if you don't say, babe, I think maybe you should try and tilt that like light that way instead of that way because you look better in that lighting when you're busy recording your elevator pitch to your new boss or your new like business deal. That is advice that a woman is giving because she has her own perspective from which viewpoint that she sees the world, and she has those 2 cents worth to contribute to you as a man, to help, not not take over, you know what I mean, type thing. And my ex stopped being happy to listen, hear what I have to say. And you know what happens in a man like that? They stop growing. My ex grew leaps and bounds. That's why his mother loved me, okay, during our relationship. And in the last 2 years of our relationship, he got stagnated. He stopped growing because he stopped listening to me, and it got so frustrating. He was so bitter and heartbreaking. He was basically breathing fire out on me when I was the wrong woman to breathe fire out on. Essentially, I became the recipient of vitriol and abuse and attack, emotional abuse. He never used to touch me, from a man that started out alright and then went pear-shaped because of bad advice from men, alongside bad women that he experienced historically. He basically attacked me for things I didn't do. He had already given me it's like he went into a horoscope because he was into astrology, a glass ball because he was into that kind of occult practice, and was like, I foresee that you're gonna be like the girl that didn't want to be with me because I didn't have any money. When I'd already been ride or die 3 whole years of my youth. I'm 25 now, 26, 25. I'm 25 now, 22, 23, 25, 24, right? Yeah, I remember I started dating him when I was 22. I'm 25 now, and I've given these years to you. I am at the age where a lot of women just want to get married already, otherwise they're gonna get to 30 still single. I would not waste my time here if I didn't want to end up married to you. If I want to marry you, then it means that I'm not trying to be with anybody else. I'm here. I'm here and I've been here all this time and I have proven myself. When they say you need to earn respect, I had earned trust. I had at this point. I had. And this man went and employed all different kinds of whack advice and broke me to 10,000 million billions of pieces. The amount of heartbreak in the latter years of my relationship with this man. And it's because I was busy throwing money into sunken costs. Like, when you invest in a project so much that you want it to work. So by the end of this relationship, which is basically the last 2 to 2.5 years, I was trying to salvage what I had invested. And it was a waste of the rest of those years. The only thing that rescued me out of that relationship, I promise you, I would have probably still continued to panel beat it until I was 30, was the fact that I got born again in the Lord Jesus Christ. I started to investigate the things of Christ, and so I let go. Christ basically told me, get out. You're unequally yoked now. He doesn't serve me. I am your master, and I'm not his. So for those reasons alone, leave. That was why I left my ex. Right? He had already gotten rid of that Jezebelic woman, right? But he attacked me because his friends said attack me. His friends sowed discord in our relationship physically and spiritually. They put a lot of witchcraft and it broke us up. A year after my ex and I broke up, within the first year of our breakup, usually when my ex would break up, we would always get back together within 2 or 3 weeks. We were so in love. My ex, by the last time I left him because he was breaking me so much, he basically was like, whatever, hamba. Like, when you spit on something, acting as if though I didn't add value to his life even in the slightest. Guys, well, people, they say there are 3 sides to the story: your side, his side, and the right side. Well, my side was the right side. I kid you not, I never did anything to shatter my ex. I did not cheat ever. Despite him cheating on me multiple times, I never did. Like, I was ride or die. And in the first year of our breakup, the first few months of it, I sang that Mary Jane song to David. I was like to David, I'm ride or die, ride or die. I'm your ride or die. And David looked at me and he was like, you're jumping up and down on my front porch, making a fool out of yourself. Woman, come on, get your act together, go home. The way my ex broke me in the first year of our breakup, I, from the life of me, never imagined he would ever do a 180. I never imagined he would ever come back around from that. And he did, but not before he ended up with the very Jezebel that he thought he was missing out on a lot with. When a woman rejects you as a man, it likely makes you feel very small. And when finally you have everything that makes this woman now want you, you then think you've arrived. My ex, that's the thing, all these guys that I've panel beaten, they never ever got their life together in a bunch until I left, or until we broke up. Well, I was always the one that left because I was always tired. And I always used to, like, when I came to Christ, I was like, Lord, every guy that I've ever worked on never got his act together in the relationship. They only got their act together after we broke up. My ex, this is his business. He wanted a construction business. He finally got it off the ground and it started to do well. It did well when now we were broken up. I was newly saved in the Lord. I did not care. I remember my cousin, the very one that was at odds, rivals with this girl, called me one time and said, Karabo, you need to get back your man. He's making money now. I was like, girl, I'm in Christ. I don't want a man just because he has money. I want a man now because, I'm in Christ. I want a man that's going to love the Lord, blah, blah, blah. My ex, towards the end of the relationship, that's when his business was starting and he got arrogant as well, right? So to prove that I wasn't even a gold digger or the kind of woman that his friends described me as, not all of them, by the way, some of them, right? Just when he was making money. So basically the kind of, like, what it is that makes women decide to be with a man now, all of a sudden. I left him in spite of that. I walked out of the relationship with my ex in spite of the fact that he started to make money because he got rude. So the things that I valued in a relationship, character, virtue, love, romance, that which makes, those small little things, that's what I valued. That's why I was able to be with a poor guy for that long, because he was willing to do those things. They fled out the window. He literally left his manners at the door and imagined that now that he was making money, he could be rude. And that's one of the reasons I left him. There was a myriad. He got cocky, he got arrogant, he was no longer as loving, and on top of that, he cheated on me in such a distasteful way in the end, to a point where I could smell another woman on his manhood, that I was like, this is just gonna, I don't want to get no HIV. I don't want to have my future shattered, my hopes of ever having kids, because now I've got to deal with an STD that might even cause me infertility, even if it's not HIV. I don't want any of that. And God saved me. He rescued me, because really I was very weak emotionally with that ex, especially also considering his friends advised him to hold me with witchcraft in the relationship. It wasn't broken, but he tried to fix it. So I would have struggled to leave in my own flesh. I literally needed the Holy Spirit to usher me on along. I left him therefore at the height of his, or the beginning of the height of his prosperity. And this is a very confusing thing for women who still have a very rotten gold digger mindset. How are you going to leave a man that you worked on for so long now that he's making money? Well, he's making money and it looks like it was osmosis, you know, transfer money into his case, but alongside the transference of money is the extraction of character. It's okay, like, I'm fine. So when does a man wake up from that loss? Too late. That's when. You know, when you color code or you blanketly paint every woman with the same character flaw of some really strange ladies that done did you dirty, you're gonna lose the kind of woman that would have made for a very lasting, beautiful marriage. My ex and I, we broke up because of the challenges of his character. We never broke up because we stopped loving each other. You know, one of those boring, annoying relationships that will give you a toothache? Public displays of affection. From day one to pretty much 5 years, we were so besotted with each other. We never got tired. We never grew old. It never got old, our love for each other. We were always all up in each other's grill. That never died. You know, the fire, yes, that passion, that spark, that never died. It literally never died from day one. We never got to a place where we were just roommates now. And okay, there was a season we were living together, but you get my point. Where in the relationship you're merely just getting through the days. So basically, that's the kind of woman that is going to make for a long-lasting marriage that is very fulfilling, where everybody has got joy, everybody is glowing, everybody is just content and happy, and now there's kids. We never got bored of each other. So our breakup was not inspired by feelings going dry, meaning that any woman that would come into my ex's life would have to compete with that. And if as a woman you don't have character, you don't have virtue, you will never be able to compete with the ride or die from the past. And this is the kind of stuff that causes bitterness in men. Literally, the reason I am noticing there is this wall in the black community between men and women, and it's very taxing to watch, because the women who are ranting are complaining about the kind of man that my ex eventually became, and the men who are ranting are complaining about the kind of woman that the women that broke my ex's heart were. And there is just no middle ground. So everybody's just hitting each other with pans and cups and saucers. I recently did shorts on the issue of the fact that it's dangerous for a woman to be submissive to a man that has not given his life to God, because he's going to abuse her emotionally and abuse his power over her. The number of men that came and spoke vitriol, to a point where I even did a response video to bad comments on my channel, was so bad, and the way that they spoke to me was so harsh. For the kind of woman that I am, I understood them, even though at the time when they were hurting me I responded straight away. I saw them as men who are hitting the wrong woman. I was right. It is uncomfortably dangerous to observe a woman that is very pious, docile, submissive to a man that has not been refined by Christ, because he will abuse her. He will. It's true. So men then need to work on their character in Christ, while women also need to work on their character in Christ. But when you meet a guy that has no interest in being transformed, who's broken and embittered by that brokenness, and you also meet women who are like that on the opposite side of the spectrum, you are going to get loggerheads between these women and these men. My battery is running low, and goodness gracious, what am I gonna do? I'll be back. Oh, goodness. Okay, I had to go inside the house again. One Ishman, come on, just stay. I'm sorry. I had to go inside the house. I'll be back. Alright, stable, just stay, okay? Whew, I'm rushing through this message. I want to get this message out because this is not my property, but I don't want to record in that shack because it gets me underestimated, okay? That's where I have freedom of expression, and I'm rushing because people are gonna get home and whatnot. Anyway, getting lamb-basted and harassed. I'm breathing because I've been running. Getting lamb-basted and harassed all over the show by my ex's friends and my ex got me later on in life lamb-basted, now that the guy had lost me. So now you are punishing me for me being the one who got away. My ex woke up and realized the folly of his way. You know when they say, but you don't know what you got till it's gone. Remember, I used to think I was a placeholder for this woman? Well, finally, my ex got to make me feel 100% like I was a placeholder for her, okay? Because listen to what happened. So when I was dating my ex-boyfriend, at the time I had Facebook, and I had publicly declared him as my man on Facebook. He didn't have any social media at all. And I remember I used to beg him, start his Facebook account so I could say in a relationship with Jojo, whatever it is that I gave him his name. He was like, I social media, I don't want it. I don't care for social media. I couldn't care less. I was like, whatever, you're boring. But I tagged him on all my photos, even though he was nowhere to be found on social media. A couple of years after we broke up, so he dated rough, horrendously. He dated badly after we broke up, and he tried to come back into my life, but by then I was strong in Christ. Remember, he took a year to finally realize what he had messed up, because he was getting in and out of relationships and basically found himself in the same cesspool that he was struggling with in the beginning stages of his dating life before he met me. These gold digger women that are using him, and the guy that rocks up with a few more rands in their pocket, they're happy to run off, right? Plus, they were not as ride or die, as loving, as comfortable to be with. He wasn't as able to be relaxed in the relationship as he was with me. He tried to come back, but by then I was already far gone with Christ, right? I was so consecrated. I was flying on the rooftops, basically, jumping on the rooftops and flying in the sky with Jesus, that given his unrefined state as an unregenerate man, I was like, no, I don't want to be unequally yoked. He got really bitter with that, started to harass me with more witchcraft, but I overcame, whatever, didn't care, right? So after rejecting him, he got even worse than before. And some 2 or 3 years after we broke up, now I was like 3 years in the faith, I guess, I find out that he got married to the girl that was the bane of my existence in our relationship. Married, as in that was the final settling point. She now was happy to be with him. I was like, oh my goodness, now that he was making money. And on top of that, he started an Instagram, the new Facebook, right? And he posted her in a way that I had asked him in our relationship. So I really felt like I was a placeholder, and it hurt me for all of 5 seconds, because when you're indwelt by the Holy Spirit, you get told what's going on straight away. So something does not break you apart into a million pieces. That's why I'm saying, get yourself some Holy Spirit, that you might gain wisdom. But alongside also gaining wisdom, you also gain understanding. Like, God will literally tell you, give you a word of knowledge while you're busy languishing over something, that it's a game. He's playing a game. I remember finding his Instagram profile. How did I find his Instagram? One of his friends, I was on my sister's Instagram. Yes, I was on my older sister's Instagram. And I noticed that my older sister had made a comment on somebody's Instagram, right? And the comment that she had made was on the Instagram of one of my ex's friends, one of the friends that actually hurt me. So I then clicked on it. No, one of my ex-boyfriend's friends commented on my sister's Instagram, because I noticed his name. I clicked on it and I went into his profile, and in this friend of my ex's profile, I then noticed that my ex had commented on one of his photos. And so I was like, that's my ex, let me see what's going on with him. I shouldn't have done that. And here it is that I found my ex, not only with an Instagram profile, but he had so many little reels or so many photos of him and this girl. And on top of that, she was his profile pic. It was littered about with mostly photos of her, not even him. I was like, not only does he post her, but she is the main feature in his Instagram profile. You know, when I remember I told you that this girl was a plain Jane. I don't know how many times I went in my mind on something, but I'm prettier, I'm more fabulous, I'm more ride or die. Like, I literally started to look at my stats, and I wanted to compare myself to this Jezebel. And the Lord was like, oh, stop, what are you doing? First of all, get out of that Instagram, okay? First and foremost, let's put that out there. And secondly, this is a game, karabo. You're not gonna go languish, moan, cry, and have me as the Holy Spirit now rock up to comfort you, okay? Stop putting yourself in harm's way, but now that you're in harm's way, I will comfort you. This is a game. Your ex knows what he lost in you. If a man could not land a woman for no other reason than the fact that he didn't have money, so it's not that this girl didn't like you because you are into random murder, you're into random physical abuse of women, like you've got these bad stats, and so a good girl is like, I'm sorry, I don't do guys that beat women. When you lose out on a woman because of that, you had it coming. But when you lose out on a woman because you don't have money, you don't have the right size shoe, the right type of pair of Nike shoes, that is the issue there is not in the man, but it's in the woman. She has character issues. Do you understand? So as a man, you should count yourself blessed when you meet a woman that will love you in spite of what you have or don't have. You should know that you have hit the lottery. You have basically made it. Do you understand? My ex hit bank big time. Not only was I more beautiful than this woman, I looked like a model. I was basically this gem, this diamond chilling in his pocket that he found on the street, disregarded. No, I wasn't disregarded. I wanted him. I chose him. And this diamond was faithful. She was loving. She was ride or die. And he could not even realize when the diamond was sitting on his couch decorating his environment, what he had. Until he not only lost her, but he ended up going back to the very woman that rejected him because he couldn't buy those Nike sneakers, because he could not get that job, he could not get that business deal done, that contract. When as a man you find yourself back into the household of the woman that rejected you when you had no money, and in your past you had a woman that was with you despite money. You will never be comfortable, at ease, content. You will never be able to trust not only the woman that you're with, but yourself with her. You are not relaxed in that state because you have to keep on pleasing the situation. So a mature man admits that on some "I'm messed up" snap, now I'm married to Jezebel. But an immature man reacts in bitterness. A man that learns his lesson is like, shouldn't have done that. But a man that is still trying to be right in pride and arrogance will lash out on the one who got away. Some of the most lovely women are being so abused by ex-boyfriends and even men that come into their life and last all of 5 seconds because they vomited their past pain in these women's lives. They are being so badly abused by guys where this woman was like punyuga bampete, slipped right through his fingers like grains of sand. Women like me are currently being so violently abused by exes who lost us and recent men who came into our lives, but because they never went and got that therapy from Jesus, because they never matured from their past mistakes, because they endured so many Jezebels, they then afflicted us the same way that, like a man that has had the kinds of experiences that my ex had with his Jezebels, when he does not get the right counseling, the treatment that he needs, Christ, for me, I'm not even saying shrink, I'm not saying go and see a therapist, especially in the Black community. People not so much frown upon therapy, but they're not used to it. It's kind of awkward for them. But Jesus is not that awkward shrink you see. You don't have to admit to anybody uncomfortably that, I'm seeing someone about my problems. When you come to Christ, it's like the Lord, right? You can talk about the Lord more easily than you can talk about a shrink, and the Lord is far more effective than a shrink. So a man that goes to Christ and asks him to heal him from the pain of the past so that he does not hurt his future wife based on the pain of the past is a man that acknowledges, if he was like my ex-boyfriend, that he lost a good woman and it literally never got better ever since then, and he needs to mature in not hurting now the woman that is going to come into his future. The same thing is true of a woman that has been hurt by a guy that hurt them for no reason at all. My ex and I are literally the exact same thing. We were perfect for each other because I was the kind of woman that would have been ride or die to a man like him, but then he allowed people to come in the middle of us, create a wedge. So basically I should be bitter and saying, oh, men suck and they all chew and they bite and then they vomit. I should be there, but instead what did I do? My ex hurt me for no reason, and then a year after we broke up, he treated me like good riddance. I went to Jesus on my knees, I groveled, that's what I mean, I snot and trana and everything. Yes, like guys, the amount of tears, I can't even tell you. In the first year of my breakup, especially the first few months of that year, Christ healed me, right? And after he healed me, what did I have? Hope. I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I never looked at all other men as, no, you don't got Jack to give me. I never looked at them like they ain't Jack, because I believed in the power of a holy God to transform even some of the most dusty men. I imagine that the Lord can make perfect anyone who comes to him. Everybody is a new creation when they come to the Lord, right? So for me, I imagine that I would get the version of my ex that never goes pear-shaped on me. The version of my ex that appreciates a helper suitable, that works on his business, on his life, and does not just stagnate, takes my advice, heeds it, and does not listen to bad information or counsel given him by jealous friends and a bad dad with a misogynistic flair. My ex knew that I was great, because you know what, guys, when a mom loves her son, like mama's boy type thing, moms that have got that kind of relationship with their sons rarely ever approve a woman. Moms who have got a clingy, strange little eerie, weird Oedipal looking relationship with their sons rarely ever approve a girl. And my ex-boyfriend was that baby boy to his mom, the kind of mother that would cause any girlfriend coming into the life of a man to be like, yo lo no mama kona petting a painting right, like the kind of like mom that will annoy you the way that every girl stank when she comes into the room. First time I met my ex's mom, it was at the restaurant opening of that friend of my ex's that I told you that had a restaurant, and she gave me hello, like banana peel handshake on some okay, can I please order coffee? I was on some, hey man, how are you? I'm Karabo. And she was like, coffee! Yeah. The sister was sweet and everything, but the mom gave me attitude from the get-go. A couple of weeks down the line, when she saw that her son was becoming fresh, he was gaining weight, he was healthy, he even quit drugs because of me. Yeah, but my ex had so many issues. I told you, panel beating,